Hello folks, I'm Bangalore has reached a rather well-written set of criteria document. I actually thought that it was super transparent and well explained rather well. So about a 5-6 page document, I would urge you to read it. Right? I'm going to kind of go through this. There's a lot of standard stuff saying we want to call promising candidates. We want to make sure that our net is cast wide. We'll select a lot of people based on multiple criteria. The one message that comes through clear and bright is we want candidates with consistent academic performance, and we are not overly reliant on CAT. Having said that, the weightage for CAT is significant for both phase 1 and phase 2. I'll get to the details slightly more. I'm just going to highlight this and go through the document. The highlighted part here is what IIM-B uses multiple parameters, namely academic performance in 10th and 12th grades, as well as the candidate section-wise scores in CAT. The key point here is what is not mentioned here. Your undergraduation score doesn't count for anything. And you could have got 90 in 10th, 92 in 12th, and a CGPA of 6.2 in your UG, you're going to be a wonderful candidate with getting tons of marks in the bag. And so super important, very crucial point. This year, IIM Bangalore is saying your UG score simply does not matter to me, which flies in the wind of their claim that we want consistent academic performance. But hey, we'll let it fly. We'll let it slide. The 10th and 12th marks are important. Undergraduation score has a weightage of 0. An important piece of information. Super crucial. 10th and 12th, how do they take it into account? They have a nice complicated mechanism. They say whichever board you wrote in, whichever year in that board, whatever is the 90th percentile score, I will use that as a mechanism to standardize your score. So suppose you say, look, I am from the board of state board in this state, which is very difficult to score in, whereas the CBSE guys get more mark, or the other way around. Then that gets normalized in some form. It's not foolproof, nothing is foolproof, but there is some normalization that goes on there. Right? Now, what do they say regarding the CAT? They say, hey, first round, I want candidate to clear 80th percentile, 75th percentile, and 75th percentile in VRC, LRDI, and Quant for me to even take them into consideration. And so, this is not to say that somebody has scored 80, 75, 75, and 85 will get a call. That's not happening. But if you don't get this, you're out straight away. And so the first round of selection is based on these numbers. Again, I'm not going to go over this. I'm going to do this video as what are the highlights that are there? What are the crucial things to keep in mind for us when you're evaluating this? That's what I'm going to focus on. The first takeaway is that UG scores count for nothing, which is significant, important, and a shift from trend or the usual norm, if we can call it that. And so these weightages you can see, not wild, not unreasonable. It's every chance that if you don't score 85th percentile aggregate, you're never going to get called anyway. So these numbers, I would argue, are irrelevant. But these are relevant, the section cutoff numbers. They're not wild, they're not offbeat. It's a regular set of numbers across different categories. Fine. This is a normalization part of how they normalize this. If you've got certification, professional courses, chartered accountancy, cost accounting, and company secretary certifications are eligible for weightage, and nothing else is eligible for weightage. So super important. If you've done one of these three, it counts for something. Otherwise, it doesn't. If you've done one of these three, this can count instead of your work experience. Right? How does work experience get counted for? If you've got less than 36 months of work experience, then you get proportionally lesser compared to a score with vis-a-vis a score of 10. You get 36 months of experience, you get 10. Anything more than 36 months of experience, you get 10. If you have 18 months of experience, you get 5. You get 12 months of experience, you get 1/3 of 10. Very simple, proportionally increasing till 36 months, and from 36 beyond, it's consistently 10. The one good, wonderful message here is that if you have 14 years of experience, you still get 10. It doesn't taper off and fall off. It's not like they're not saying 36 months is the peak. 36 months or beyond is treated as same as 36 months. And so if you've got tons of experience and you're worried that it's going to be discriminated against, that's not going to happen. You have 25 years of experience, you'll still get 10 points for work experience in stage 1. Take that in and bank it. So more experience is not a disadvantage at all beyond the 36-month mark. The 36-month mark is a good, is a point where you get maximum. Below that is proportional to that. Lovely. Now, they make one very nice point saying, look, you get a score out of 10 for this. In your interview phase, there'll be a weightage attached to quality of work experience. They'll say weightage could be 0.25, 0.51, 1.5 or 2 given by the different members in the panel. And based on that, your work experience score will be multiplied with that, with the average of all these ratings. Right? And the 10 mark number will be scaled down to a 5-point scale. Forget the math of it, because there's a separate weightage for round 2. Crux of it, they're saying at round 1, I take the number of months of experience as a proxy to give you a seat and then have a chat. At round 2, I am very serious about whether your 36 months of experience was with your second cousin's pawn shop or you were working with Accenture or McKinsey. So what company you're working with, how credible it is, what is your role, how clearly you can articulate it, how well you can document it matters to get the quality score in terms of round 2. But I simply can't gauge what quality is on round 1 based on some guff that you're writing. Only if I see you, I can validate that. So right now I'll take it at face value based on what you can submit. And then they make it amply clear in multiple occasions that if any one thing is factually incorrect or untruthful, you're disqualified straight away. And so keep that in mind. So the weightage really kicks in round 2, not in round 1. IIM-B is keen to ensure that work experience claimed by the candidate is authentic and professionally significant enough to deserve credit. So that's why that quality of work experience kicks in round 2. And then you need to give tons of decent work. You guys should get an employment certificate. It should be verifiable. We should have a point of contact to speak to in case we want to verify all of that. Right? Now, if you've got work experience or you've done a professional course, those three professional courses can be used in lieu of work experience. Suppose you're a chartered accountant, then that can come in instead of work experience. And so, and the maximum of your 2 scores will be considered. Suppose you're an exceptional chartered accountant with wonderful marks and grades and whatever not that entails, but your work experience number is only 3 months, then that will kick in. Or suppose your work experience is 36 months, that will be used. Right? Now, the weightage for CAT in round 1 is 55. Right? The weightage numbers are important. CAT is 55, 10th and 12th are 15 and 15. Takes us to 85. Gender diversity is 5, 90 and 10 for work experience or professional course, whichever is higher. 55, 15, 15, 5 going up to 90 plus 10, 100. So what are the point to note here? If you have 0 experience and you've not done a professional course, you're going to get 0 out of this 10. You need to have that much better CAT score to get called in. That is obvious. Your undergraduate score simply doesn't matter. That we know. Gender diversity is 5 free marks. That's a big asset. So that is to keep in mind for obviously for girls who are eligible for that. The 55 points allotted for CAT is not equal. VRC weightage is significantly higher than Quant. The highest is for data interpretation. So 19 plus 21, 40. 55. So both VARC and LRDI are higher than Quant. So basically, I would look at it as saying not even extra emphasis to VARC, but as lesser emphasis on Quant. They're basically saying if you've killed Quant, but not that great in the other 2, I'm going to discriminate against you mildly. And so the 19 and 21 numbers are that little bit more than the 15-point number given to Quant. Right? The top 10 candidates in each of the following, the total score in CAT and professional from the shortlist, are given a free pass to attend the interview. And the top 10 candidates, mind you, it's only 10. So if you have an absolutely scorching record, which is effectively 100 percentile or 99.99 percentile, you've applied to IIM Bangalore, you can get a call irrespective of what your 10th, 12th, acad, work experience, all of that is. Chances are you would have anyway qualified because the weightage for CAT is 55. They're not even saying therefore you get a good score here. Your 10th and 12th don't matter. They're saying, look, I'll give you a call. You could have got 60 in 10th, 65 in 12th, but if you got 100 percentile, chances are I'll give you an interview thing. But your 60 and 65 will get counted for in round 2. So not even that they're giving it a pass, they'll call you for the interview. And absolute top notch, top 10 candidates. It's not 100 percentile or 99.99, nothing more than that. There's a weightage formula for each of these, not difficult to figure out, but basically they're saying how many standard deviation from mean you are, multiply with 1/6 of the weightage, add to half the weightage, find a minimum, find a maximum, simplify that and take that. And so Not something that we need to dive into. It is commonsensical enough. Lovely. Now, after this is done, then you're going to be called for an interview. After that phase, we'll have VAT, PI, and a relevant quality of work experience metric that comes into your phase 2. Phase 2 criteria are also important. Now, for phase 1, they've said, look, if you clear that cutoff mentioned in table 1, then they'll calculate this score based on these weightages: 55, 15, 15, 5, and 10, adding all up, coming to 100, and call the top few. They've clearly said that we'll call adequate number of candidates so that we get to see a lot of people for the interview phase. Right? After that, the weightages change. The work experience number gets rejigged. That is important. And then the work experience number gets rejigged. The one point here is every member in the panel gets to give a quality of score proxy, and then average of that change is accounted for to give you a work experience quality angle to it. Right? The weightages, the final weightages are again interesting. VAT score has a weightage of 10, the written assessment test. Personal interview has a weightage of 35, which is significant, huge, big chunk. 25 still holds good for CAT. So 25 plus 35, 60 plus 10, 70 accounted for. 10th and 12th are 10 and 10. Work experience or professional qualification is 10. So your CAT shrinks, but it's still 25%. Personal interview is 35%. So there, if you've had a killer CAT score and you get through and you're top of the pile, you can still slide because your personal interview and VAT are 35 plus 10, 45. 45 new units coming in there. So phase 2, almost half the thing is yet to be marked. Why I'm saying almost half is not just this 45, but the weightage for your work experience that also comes in here. Based on this, finally they'll give a call. 25 marks for CAT are 8.75 for VRC, 10 for LRDI, 6.25 for quantitative aptitude. The ratio is more or less the same. The way they're treating the 55 is how they're treating this 25. So quant, there's less emphasis compared to VRC and LRDI. Wonderful document, nice and detailed. They go to a point, and this paragraph is actually very interesting. It says, people who have an excellent academic record and work experience, who, while doing CAT all right, might have been discriminated against based on not having a kick-ass score. He's saying we don't want that. We will in fact make sure that these kids who have an excellent academic record and a decent CAT score come in at the expense of guys who have a modest academic record but an extraordinary CAT score. Clearly saying, the last sentence is very clear. IIM-B emphasizes consistent and high performance in past academics.
We get happy.
And all other parameters. Basically, they're super clear. They've explicitly stated this. You have 90, 90 and a 99.4. We like you better than a candidate who's got 75, 75 and a 99.9. And you cannot have a kick-ass CAT score and overtake the person with a consistent academic record. Right? Fine points here, good document, nice and transparent. How they are thinking about this comes out rather clearly. The VRC and LRD above quant significant. The UG score going to 0 significant. CAT weightage still being 55% significant. They're basically saying if you have an okay-ish record academically, you can offset that by getting a kick-ass CAT score. Remember, the 55% weightage is not based on your percentile, but your mark. Someone who's got 99th percentile to someone who's got 100th percentile, there's usually a 40% difference in marks. So 99th percentile to 100th percentile, if 99th percentile gets a mark of 100, 100th percentile gets a mark of 140. It's huge. And if you got, so there's lots of room to get a killer differential in that 55% criteria. So you can have a modest academic record, destroy CAT and go in. Modest academic record, destroy that and still have be among the front runners based on the 25% weightage given to CAT. You still have to nail and kill your interview. The interview weightage is significant, but if you look at the fine print, if you look at the numbers, 15 and 15 for 10th and 12th, 30% there, 55% in CAT, you can still catch up if you do a kick-ass CAT score, which is all anyone can ask for if they have skeletons in their cupboard in terms of the 10th and 12th scores. Right? Interesting document, go through it, read it. As ever, we're available for conversation, chat, discussions, comments, post in comments. We will get back to you. Best wishes for your preparation.